This is Matt Huber. Today we're going to look at the Billy Decker bus glue plugins created by Joey Sturgis Tones, JST. So these are essentially plugins that are supposed to be used on buses, although they sound great on individual channels as well. But the idea behind them is basically to set your buses up in a way where you have to do less treatment on individual channels. And so it's kind of a top-down approach if you're familiar with that. And so we're going to go through each one of them. There are a handful of them, and we're going to kind of look at what they do. We're going to listen to what they're doing to the source and just kind of explore what the plugins have to offer. And if you haven't heard of Billy Decker, he's a really amazing mix engineer out of Nashville, incredibly prolific. And so one of his big things is using tools in a way to where you can get a lot of the grunt work out of the way and spend your time on the creative side of mixing and really making it just come across emotionally. So we'll see what these plugins have to offer. I think my first impression is really great. So let's go ahead and start with drums. We're going to listen to this track really quickly, just a quick drum track. So there's actually quite a bit already going on there. It's a pretty tightly mixed track already, but I intentionally took kind of my final bus treatment off of it to see what this Billy Decker drum bus has to offer. So just a quick little review on this particular one. This is obviously the drum bus module, and so we've got a few controls here. Let's kind of go around. We've got this right here. This is the calibration knob, and basically what that does across all the plugins, it's kind of changes depending on the plugin, but generally it is like a threshold or an input gain into a limiting or clipping circuit or a compression circuit. So this drum one is essentially a little bit of shaping as well as a clipping circuit. And then a compression over here. So Decorate, this is, he seems like a really fun guy. He's got a bunch of crazy words and a big personality all over his plugins. But anyway, so not a lot going on here, but there's a lot going on under the hood. We've got Decorate, which is essentially a clipping circuit or limiting. Obviously, we can't see under the hood, but it's definitely leveling out the drums. And then we've got a compression circuit here. And then we've got our outgain, which I've already gain matched all of this stuff. And then we've got a wet-dry mix, which is really super helpful, especially since a lot of these deal with compression and limiting. So let's take a listen to what this first one. I've got it set up on the Decorate, which is the clipping. You can look over here on the metering to see kind of what it's doing to the overall level. So check it out. Here it is. I'll bring it in and out. Here it is in. We can push it further if we want. We'll see. Obviously, as we push it a little more, we got some gain for which I hadn't compensated. But you saw there, essentially, there's definitely some limiting clipping going where signal's not going beyond a certain point. But what I do like about it, let's see if we can kind of get it back to where it was. Yeah, what I like about it is that you just hear some density. It brings some of those peaks under control. You know, a lot of mixes where you're trying to really get a loud master, a lot of that starts on your channels and on your buses, really shaving down some unruly transients to keep things from being more difficult down the line. So this clipping circuit actually sounds really great. Was very impressed by it. Added some fatness, brought things under control, and a little bit of glue. But as far as glue, the compression circuit on this is really great. So this one is kind of a good example of the compression. So I'm only doing about 2 to 3 dB of gain reduction on here just to kind of get it to glue together. Check it out. Here it is without it, and I'll bring it in. Here it is in. And out. Back in. So it's definitely doing a lot of really great things to the sound. I hear a little extra punch added to it, but the biggest thing I hear is that it is bringing up a lot of the ambience around the kit and just making the kit feel overall bigger and more produced and polished. We'll push this to an extreme just to see what it does, because why not? It's a lot of fun. All right, here we go. Adjust this. You can hear it's got a somewhat slow attack time, probably somewhere around 20 milliseconds or something like that, allowing a little bit of transient to get through to maintain some punch, but enough to just give it some squash too. So here it is, the drum bus compressor. Sounds really, really great. I could see myself using this a ton. Let's go ahead and move on to bass. You actually may have noticed in the drums there was a little bit of tonal shaping that you could hear in it, especially kind of bringing in a little bit of top end, a little bit of snap to the overall sound. Thought that was really interesting. And again, so these plugins are specifically made to kind of set up your overall tones so you're not having to do as much on the channel. It's just setting you up for success. So check it out, the bass. So this is nothing special about this bass track. Let's listen to it as is. Just a pick bass track. All right, so before we do anything, I want to talk about this one. So it's basically some compression and equalization, and I think there's a little bit of harmonic work going on in there, maybe a little bit of grit, but this is actually really, really cool. So just kind of to give you a little bit of a tour here, you've got stay put, which is basically the compression circuit. Again, you've got your trimmer here, and you've got an on-off for the stay put. You've got your wet-dry mix. You've got your out gain like the others. And then you've got this country and rock switch. And I think your ears will be able to do a better job than my description. So check this out. This is on the rock setting, and we're going to have a little bit of compression. Without. You can hear what that rock setting is doing. So let's put it on country. Back to rock. So that is obviously an extremely big difference between the two. Country is really pulling out a lot of top end. The rock is really pushing the top end forward, and a little bit of harmonic work, harmonic distortion going in there to give it just some push through the mix, some aggression through the mix. Again, this is specifically made to just sort of set you up with a vibe and go from there. And so let's take a look at the compression at slightly more extreme levels. So check this out. We'll just keep it on the rock setting. We're already doing a pretty large amount of compression. Without, with. So you can hear it's doing a really great job of just leveling the tone. And then obviously some pretty aggressive tonal shaping with this country and rock switch. So this is really, really cool. Obviously the wet dry again will be really great to just sort of tailor that overall vibe from extreme to a little less extreme. So let's go ahead and move on to electric guitars. The electric guitar one is a little different. We've got the peak knob here, this little calibration screw. On this one functions more as an input gain than it does anything else. So it's input gain into this decorate, which in this situation is more of compression and limiting. So it's a little bit of both. It's more of just an overall effect. And then we've got our mix knob for it, and then our out gain. So again, this is gain matched, and we are going to go ahead and just take a listen to it unprocessed and then processed. here we go, unprocessed. All right, let's bring it in. All right, let's push it a little more and just see what an extreme sound is like. Gonna pull it out. So it's doing something really, really cool to the low mids. It's just taking everything and pushing it right in your face and giving the electric guitar a lot of power. So, you know, coming from the Nashville country music scene, that makes a whole lot of sense. Very good guitar-driven music. I could see that being very useful for really any guitar-driven genre, like metal, rock, anything, giving those guitars some more authority and power in the mix. All right, so now we're going to move on to the acoustic one. This one's actually one of my favorites as I was going through it. It kind of took me by surprise. So this one is, I've got an example here of both just a short passage of a finger-picked guitar and then a strummed one as well. So let's go ahead and listen to some of it without processing. Back in. I absolutely love what that's doing to the sound. It's, you know, bringing a lot of tightness to the sound with the compression, bringing that pick attack forward a little bit. It's doing something really cool to the top end, but my favorite thing about it is it's really cleaning up the low end, some of that boomy boxiness that's generally kind of useless in a mix. So we're going to go ahead and push the controls a little further, kind of get a vibe for it. And again, we've got two different things here. Clamp is the compression. Decorate is, I believe, some limiting and tonal shaping. So let's just kind of play around with it and see what it feels like. Definitely adding some gain. Obviously took it to some extreme levels, but you can kind of hear what it is capable of. Very, very cool vibe on that one. I imagine it would sound really, really great on pretty much any stringed instrument, you know, banjo, mandolin, so on and so forth. Let's check out what it does to a finger-picked guitar. So here we go. Just a short passage here. All right, so check it out with it. I'm going to bring it in halfway through. Very cool. So let's hear that again. Again, bringing a ton of clarity to the sound, removing some of that boxiness. And then again, there might be a setting with like a finger-picked guitar where you want some of that low end in there. Again, you can just roll the mix knob back. I'm actually really, really happy, really excited about that particular one because I think what it does really, really well. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the keys one. So the keys one, to me, it sounds like it's giving a little extra top end, just some clarity, and then obviously some compression and limiting just to kind of set things up. So let's listen to it. I've just got kind of an affected piano track on here. All right, let's hear it with. Let's push it a little further. Take it out. So it's adding a ton of density to the sound. It's bringing out some of that attack, and it really does. It's giving it a polish that is just a lot more mix ready. So I could see that being very useful on a lot of sources. I'm very interested to experiment with that one a little more. All right, vocals. This one is really, really great. Let's take a look at the different functions here. You've got a male and female switch. So a lot like the other plugins, there's definitely some tonal shaping going on here, some EQ, some harmonic, harmonic material. So the male and female kind of allows you to tailor the frequency response. You've got compress, which is very self-explanatory, and then you've got rock and country. So it's kind of more or less, one is a little more aggressive than the other. And then decorate, which is a switch that doubles the signal. So just doubles the level. So I'm going to just run through a little passage here, and then I'm going to bring it in and out. Here we go.
Slow love, quick kiss, you drive away.
All right, let's bring it in.
Slow love, quick kiss, you drive away. Slow love, quick kiss, you drive away.
All right, let's play around with the switches a little.
Slow love, quick kiss, you drive away. Two kids, long distance, it's killing me.
To me, it sounds like the rock and country switch, as well as the male and female switch, really tailor the top end a little bit, and then with the male and female, I could definitely tell a little bit of difference in the low end. Let's take this compression a little further and see what it sounds like.
Slow love, quick kiss, you drive away. Two kids, long distance, it's killing me.
That compression is definitely hammering it right into place. This thing sounds great. Let's see here. And again, you've got your this calibration screw here, which is essentially, again, a threshold. So very, very cool. And again, wet, dry, like all the others. All right, let's look at the final one. This is the master bus module. So let's just listen to what we've got without it. So this is basically a mix that just finished up for a band called Forever Free. You should check them out. FRVR Free. They're really, really great. So I took all of the master bus treatment off of here, and we're just going to see what it does here. So just to kind of give you a little bit of overview of this again, this has got, you've got decorate, which is, from what I can tell, decorate and finish are some level of limiting in multi-band multi-band clipping and multi-band limiting is what I can hear. But again, I can't see under the hood, so I can just guess. So then you've got squeeze, which is bus compression, and then you've got your mix knob. And so let's see here. And then you've got your style, country pop, and rock and heavy. So we're going to go ahead and kind of play this little portion here, and then bring it in and out. And also keep an eye on the meter over here. I'll kind of expand this so you can kind of see how it's affecting our levels and how it's affecting transients and whatnot. So let's check it out.
Your moving mystery is way more than I ever seen.
Bring it in.
I feel you moving me and I can't get enough. Your moving mystery is way more than I ever seen. I feel you moving me and I can't get enough. It's more than magic. Your moving mystery is way more than I ever.
Really, really cool stuff going on there. Let's go ahead and play around with the knobs and see what happens.
Your moving mystery is way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me and I can't get enough. Your moving mystery is way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me and I can't get enough. It's more than magic. Your moving mystery is way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me and I can't get enough.
So there's definitely a lot of interaction between these knobs, I've noticed. It's kind of take a little bit to kind of figure out how they interact, and more importantly than anything, just kind of using your ears. So you obviously want to keep an eye on your gain reduction up here, kind of keep an eye on it, keep an ear on your distortion and artifacts. With really any master bus limiting and compression and clipping, there will always be limits to how far you can take it. And so a lot of what you're hearing there as I pushed it to extremes is exactly what you'd expect from anything like this. And so we kind of heard the country pop and rock and heavy switch. Sounded like it just, again, it was a little more just overall EQ voicing, the character of the top end, the character of the low mids. The squeeze I thought was doing something really, really great to the sound, as was decorate and finish. And so, wow, yeah, this thing, I want to kind of play around with a little more. Let's kind of run it back and get a good A-B again.
You're moving mystery. It's way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. You're moving mystery. It's way more than I ever see. I feel you moving me, and I can't get enough. It's more than magic.
Really, really great. Could see that being extremely useful. And again, some of this stuff is, most of it actually is kind of with the idea of doing a top-down approach. So building your mix with these on the buses. Obviously not pushed to crazy extreme settings necessarily, but just kind of setting you up to do less work on individual channels. So I hope that helps you guys out. Just an overview here. I know a little bit of rambling, a little bit of exploration. These plugins are somewhat new to me as well, but man, I really think these have something great to offer to the recording and mixing community. So please do let me know what you think. Go check them out at joeysturgistones.com. This is Billy Decker's Bus Glue plugin, and this is Matt signing off. Bye-bye.